He goes mad for those ads, he's got a Trailer Jones.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Trailer Jones. This is a Comic-Con 2018 special. I'm joined by Mr. Kyle Bossman.
I love trailers.
And Michael Damiani.
Yo!
And we are going to be scoring Shazam, Aquaman, and Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
You've run from foster homes in 6 counties. I can take care of myself.
Kicking it off with Shazam. And apologies to everyone that I know there's a lot of video game trailers that came out at Comic-Con. I think movies, as far as building up excitement, really showcasing new stuff. I mean, the 3 trailers we're talking about today were really the big reveals. We finally got to see, what these movies were going to be like. We'd seen photographs or we'd, had plot details, but this was really kind of the coming out party for these 3 projects. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I kind of like having that discourse throughout this episode and figuring out, did they do it right? Did they not do it? Here's Shazam. This is a comedy. We'll be talking about Aquaman in a second, which would be a question mark whether that is a comedy or not, kind of what DC's approach is. But this is also in the DC universe, and this is definitely a funny film or an attempt to be a funny film. And you like to bring the funny sometimes, Kyle. Were there moments in this trailer that made you laugh?
Yeah, I think so. I think the first time I watched this, I was laughing a couple of times. I think I laugh at the very end, just like, okay, you're dead now, and then just, hey, I'm a superhero. Just immediately after that, it's if you're not laughing out loud, it's humorous what Zachary Levi brings to this role, which I like a lot. When I heard they're making a Shazam movie, before you hear the casting, you're bummed because Shazam's kind of a dumb superhero, but here they're having fun with the dumbness of a little boy who transforms into a full-on superhero. They're enjoying themselves with that, and that's what I really like that is communicated in this trailer.
I think the premise also comes across very clearly. By the time you're done with this video, you're like, I got it. I have what this movie is. And I think one of the things that I enjoy about it so much is we get a clear sense of this film. We get a clear sense, I think, of the characters. I think his friend from It, the film, It, the Stephen King film.
That's one of the It boys?
That's one of the It children.
Okay.
I think he really is showcased really well, and I think it's fun. Obviously Shazam's going to be doing funny things. Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call him. He's obviously going to have lots of.
He's not Captain Marvel anymore.
He's going to have lots of comedic opportunities in this, but I really like how much he gets to shine in this trailer as well. I think he gets a lot of fun bits. And so I think one of my favorite things about this trailer is how short it is. We don't really see a ton. This doesn't spoil a lot. This is the introduction to their campaign and doesn't necessarily speak on behalf of the entire film. I think it's just the beginning of introducing you to this concept, and if you're sold on it, you could potentially go media blackout on this and just be like, I kind of want to save the rest for this. We see Mark Strong as the villain, but we don't really get his backstory or really see what's going on.
Sorry, who's Mark Strong?
You're the bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Mark Strong was in both of the Kingsman films. Mark Strong was the bad guy in Kick-Ass.
Okay.
Mark Strong, has been in a bunch of stuff. Has played good guys, has played bad guys.
Sounds like he has a wheelhouse, though.
And I think just, again, like you were saying, just another actor I think is going to have a lot of fun with this movie. It just seems like everybody's having fun. What did you think, Damiani?
I mean, I like this. I think this is some of the stuff that DC should be doing for their superhero films. I think they've tried. It's definitely not dark tone, which was they were missing the mark on those in the previous films. So I like the levity of this trailer. I get a very heavy dose of the vibe from the film Big. Like the dynamic between Shazam and the kid. Like having the kid is like, I'm the expert in the toys and stuff. I'm going to help you along, Tom Hanks. And this is like, you're the super comic book superhero. Help me out with my powers and stuff. Yeah. So I like that dynamic there of, like Big was a great movie in my opinion. And I think they are drawing upon that. And that came across very quickly. And I do like your point you made, Jones. I do like how it's meant to be funny. It's about this new introduction story of this new character who's like, what are my powers and stuff? Oh, it's gonna be it's kind of taking a page from Marvel, like the test stuff, like test power scene 1 thing that they do later on. It's like, okay, like they're clearly going for that direction.
Tony Stark
but
did the
you
exact same
could just
thing, yeah.
straight up like, okay, you get it. It's about him discovering who he is and his powers and stuff. There's obvious, and he's like, oh, he's having a good jolly time. There's a one scene, as you said, where he tries to punch the villain and it gets stopped. Like, oh, wait a second, there might be some resistance here. You could go on media blackout and say, I want to be surprised by this. But the vibe of this and the tone of this, I think, is something that DC needs to try. I think this is a different direction. I think, and also the character, Kyle, you're saying this is not, when I heard about like Shazam, like no, like I need, but like Zach Levi being casted kind of drew me back in. These characters going for the, like, you know, not the main line, not the most well-known characters in DC's universe is a good move.
I think also one thing that it sets up, just for me personally looking ahead at this project, a big DC fan, don't know a lot about Shazam. I've seen films, animated series, and animated films that the characters appeared in, but I've never really, you know, done a deep dive into the lore. And I just think it sets itself up in a way that, like, for me, after this trailer, the jokes could potentially fall flat, but I can't think of any other promises that this trailer makes that could then potentially lead to a bad movie. Like, I don't watch this trailer and think, oh no, I hope this doesn't go awry. I just don't feel like there's a lot of stakes that it sets up, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of, and that leads me to another point that I want to bring up is there's a lot of fun lore teasers. There's a lot of you see the Batarang that he might have found somewhere and
His
collects.
stupid Aquaman shirt.
And he opens up the drawer. You see the articles about Superman. So it does suggest like this does follow Justice League and the Suicide Squad and all of that stuff. This does fit into that world, but doesn't need to necessarily. That's just kind of a backdrop for the stuff that's going on. The Justice League probably wouldn't take this character very seriously, and so it just seems like there's not a lot of harm caused by this. And I think that's one of the reasons why it got such a big reaction at Comic-Con, especially following really dark stuff like Titans and a lot of these other announcements that people thought were very heavy-handed.
Jones, it is very funny to point out, though, that there is no conflict presented after he beats up the bullies. It's like conflict and then everything's good for the rest of the trailer. That's really, really funny and unique about what is happening here. I guess you see that sort of thing in other comedies, is like you just see maybe a conflict set up and then jokes. We see plot, we see him developing, we get that, we see some progress with his character. But it is funny that it's like, obviously the villain is the conflict. We see him grab his fist, but yeah, it's not important to this trailer. It's not something that they needed to stress because we get it. We get the story. Knowing nothing about Shazam, people will come into this trailer and get the movie, which is really impressive.
Let's talk about structure. Let's talk about editing. Let's talk about sound design. Anything stand out for you, Damiani? Do you like the way that this story was structured? You made a comment when we were watching it before that he stepped off the subway and you were like, this is the 30-minute mark in the film. Is too much of it laid out? Do you think, like, after seeing this trailer that now the beginning of this film is going to kind of be dull because we know all of these major beats? Or is it necessary for them to tell you the story, if you know nothing about Shazam, to at least understand, okay, here's who he is, here's how he gets his powers, here's what potentially the plot could be like?
No, with this specific trailer, I think they did a good job of the shot by shot from through it. They make it it's very clearly a known quantity up to a certain point. Like, we know this is like an origin film. We know he's gonna like trying out his powers. We're seeing about like his like living situation, like his character development. Like, oh, he's kind of like, he doesn't have a real family. They call it the bully like that. You see that he's willing to stand up. You know, the show shot of him fighting back, but then he flees and he gets his powers. Like, it is, like I said, like this is gonna be the beginning of the movie. But I think what it teases at the end with that the punch scene where he can't punch the guy, and the teases throughout of like, what can I do? What can I do? I think it does enough in my mind of teasing where it's going to go beyond that, like Act 1. Like Act 2 and 3 are going to be about, does he realize the consequences of superpowers? Like, obviously he's still figuring out, but like they can do good, but like, is he going to run into any issues with that? And then
his friends can be like, you used to be cool.
Yeah, like
we used
stuff
to
like
hang
that.
out.
Just like Big.
And then
you
like,
can have that moment where now you're just infatuated with being a superhero and you forgot your friends.
And this is the DC universe, so obviously can invite challenge from criminals and like, you know, super villains or whatever, and they're going to notice him and be like, oh, this was a safe place where I could do whatever I want. Now you're showing up. It's going to be like, you know, how does he deal with that? Like serious adult situations, because he's still a kid.
Yeah.
You know, at least as far as I know from the trailer. So yeah, I think structurally it tells a good narrative, and it shows you Act 1, and it teases what will come after that.
Jones, as far as editing, the only thing that to me kind of bothers me, and I get why you can't. What is this, like 2.5 minutes long? Mm-hmm. Edits on jokes. Edits before the jokes get to end, and you could like cut to a reaction or just cut away. You kind of bury those jokes. I'm thinking of basically the opening line of his brother who just says like, oh, how does an adopted kid with a crutch be so dark?
Yeah.
Like we don't get to laugh at that line. It just like moves on. They edit off of it really fast. Whereas I think if you gave that line, and like obviously in the movie it'll have time, really what's important about that is we understand that that kid is also an adopted kid who has a crutch. We don't need to laugh as much as this wants to get the point of plot across. So for that reason, I understand what they did there. I understand like we got to move on. We got to make this trailer happen. But I think a lot of the jokes just don't work because of how quickly we're moving off of them.
One thing I also missed from the beginning portion of this is we get almost zero character building of the kid himself.
Yeah.
It's a lot of other people talking to him. We see him, saving his brother. We see him standing up against these bullies. And then that leads directly into the subway scene. So like I'm led to believe that he might have been chosen because of that thing that he just did, that I'm going to give my powers to somebody who's willing to stand up for other people. But I would have liked one line maybe in response to the school counselor, or maybe him meeting his parents when he gets to home or something like that, or a reply in that scene when he meets his new brother for the first time.
Right.
But when you see him at the end and you see the adult version of him, adult Shazam
full of character.
Speaks so much more than
Yes.
the younger kid.
Yeah.
Even there's one line that like I've only say this because I've watched this trailer like 500 times now, but when he says like, oh, your superhero stuff, he does like a weird little voice.
Yes.
He does kind of like a character that I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I hope there's not a lot of that.
Right, 'cause
I hope
the
there's not
kid-
a lot of Zach Levi being like, I'm a kid.
Yeah, because the kid wouldn't talk like that.
Yeah. So there are some things that make me nervous. I have a major production concern with this trailer.
Ooh.
This trailer hits, and I mean like kaboom, big loud slamming sound, way too many times. I think just like you were saying, you got to punch those big moments at the end. Him, Shazam, hitting, Mark Strong, like trying to fly and hitting the ground. Like I like that once he makes the transformation, but in the beginning when he like beats up the bullies and is running away in the subway, it's just like pounding, 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 and there's nowhere to go. We'll get to that again when we talk about Aquaman, but it's just like I would have liked if there was a little more whimsy in the beginning and not just like, this is a superhero story. It's like, don't tell me that. Let me be surprised when that happens. But like there really is this kind of like heavy attitude in the beginning of this trailer. It's like, This is an action movie. And it's like, I would like, just imagine people that are not at Comic-Con, that are not loading this trailer on YouTube, but are just going to watch, some comic book movie this summer or some action film this summer, and then this gets played in front of that, and then they think, oh, it's some kind of coming of age story, and then well, what? It's like, then I think that it makes it even funnier when he gets off the subway and it's like, what is happening? And Shazam comes up, and the wizard comes up and like gives him his name. It's just like when he runs into the subway car, I would have loved just kind of like a Ferris Bueller attitude of like, it's like, oh, this kid's just getting away again, instead of like clearly something epic is about to happen.
I get what you're saying.
And I think again, it's just pace. I want this to build a little bit more. I actually counted them. There were 25 hits throughout this trailer. 25 moments outside of the music where they went kablam,
Oh, like when the titles appear.
Yeah. And to me, that's just a little bit excessive, and I think takes away some of the oomph when you get to the best moments.
Sure.
But I understand that's just kind of like the editing trade. It's just kind of what you do. If you're cutting trailers.
I know, man.
And I think something that definitely separates movie trailers from game trailers. You get a lot more of this in movies. But I wish they'd done a little bit less in the beginning. And because it makes me happy, I do have a lot of notes, but I'll go for an 8.3.
Sure.
For my final score.
Yeah, Jones, I was going to go 8.5. I think it's the right trailer for the movie. Again, I have like stupid issues like you do. Like
they're all stupid issues.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
is a show about stupid issues.
This is stupid issues about giving a score to a trailer. Yeah, I get it. But it's interesting you bring up the hits. I don't think a lot of other people do. It's funny. Yeah, I think it's right. I think I wish that the jokes hit harder. Man, you know what? That's my favorite scene. The one where he's in the mall. You see a superhero walking around in a mall. There's so many superhero movies at this point.
Yeah.
And they found a new scene. I've not seen a superhero just chilling out in a mall.
I think it's like Entertainment Weekly has him on his phone chewing bubblegum and like,
Yeah.
more of this. This is great.
Yes.
You know, like, because I don't get the vibe that's like, isn't this funny? I get the vibe that's like, isn't this stupid? Like, don't take this guy seriously. Actually, some of my favorite moments from this trailer are just Zach Levi's facial expressions.
Yeah.
I love when he says, "Can you fly?" And he's like, "Oh, good. I don't know." You know, like, I love the shock when the guy's like, "Hey, my phone," and he's like, "Oh, whoa!" He's really surprised. Like, "Oh, sorry, I wasn't expecting that."
He smashes the wall, and it's like, "Oh, I just did that."
Yeah.
Really good casting. He's killing this role. Yeah. You're right. Jones, to me, they're smart to just emphasize him the whole time.
Give me a score, Damiani.
I'm gonna go with a 8.0. I think. I think it's a good trailer. It got its point across. I think. I do thinking about it more. I do think it relies a little bit too much on like Act 1 stuff, but like your remark, Carl, about like that joke, like the editing there, I was just like, none of this is funny at all right here. I know it might be funny at some point, but within this trailer, that like they might go Game of Thrones and don't worry, I'm just joking. I'm like,
it doesn't play.
It smells like a joke. You're like,
I was like trying too hard, and I was like, I don't know. And then like I guess there's just enough teasing, but I think a little bit more motivation or just a little bit more reasoning given to me as the viewer about why things are happening, other than just, I chose you, here you go, here's your powers. I mean, and I do like this one scene coming up, because you might think it's a bad joke, but we go, say my name, Shazam. He's like laughing. Oh yeah, a kid would laugh at that because it's stupid. Like, to me, it's also like,
Shazam
we're also
is a dumb
laughing
name.
at the stupidity of the concept of this. Like, this is like, we're
I
making a movie
think
of this.
even when he says Shazam and then Zach Levi comes out of the smoke, like, that shot's kind of dumb, but I think it's intentionally dumb. Like, I don't know. I just think, I hope they keep this vibe. I hope they are smart about, but I hope they learn from the response that this got at Comic-Con, and I hope they don't go full Deadpool, but kind of continue this attitude throughout the rest of the campaign. 8.3 is the collective score.
Nice.
For the Comic-Con 2018 trailer of Shazam!
My father was a lighthouse keeper. My mother was a queen. But life has a way of bringing people together.
So now we move on to a property, Damiani's yawning, a property I never thought we would get. I never thought, like, back to like high school and college, I always wondered, one day in my lifetime, will I see a trailer for an Aquaman film? Mm-hmm. And here we are. I have my best trailer buddies with me.
Yeah.
And it's time to figure out if this is going to be a good movie or if this is a good trailer. I wanted to watch Shazam first because one of my biggest issues with this trailer is doing way too much. They're trying to cram way too much film into this, and I think it's done out of desperation. Mm-hmm. I think DC really wanted to set up, okay, here's Shazam the comedy. We don't necessarily need to show you more, but if we're gonna sell Aquaman, because for Shazam, I need to sell you on the premise. I need you to understand this is a kid who becomes a superhero when he says a magic word, and there you go. And you can imagine what kind of goofy movie that's going to be. That's the movie that we made. Well, with this, you're like, okay, cool, Aquaman. Are we going to be like riding sharks around? Yes, we are, but it's going to look really cool. Like, yes, there's going to be a bunch of new lore characters we're going to throw at you, but look at all these sexy actors that are playing them. Like, yes, all of this dumb stuff that you've thought about, like, yeah, you can't make an Aquaman movie because it's all so inherently stupid. It's not going to be stupid in this movie. It's going to be epic and amazing. But I think that was just too much for Comic-Con. I think it's too much for the initial reveal. I wonder if this would have benefited from doing the same type of trailer that we got from Shazam, where it's just that introduction. But then again, at the same time, we already had the introduction. We already had Justice League. We already know this character.
We do not need his backstory.
I guess we don't.
We don't need it. You wasted the first 30 seconds of this trailer on totally uninteresting things. The shot of the shark almost breaking that wall is stupid. It's unrealistic and stupid.
I gotta show you Nicole Kidman though,
and we're not amazed. You know? Oh, is she the mom?
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of think you're right. I kind of think it's a little star power in there, but yeah, it's totally unnecessary. Somebody coming in to seeing the Aquaman movie doesn't care. Just like, oh, I wonder what he was like when he was a boy. You don't have to. You don't have to because he's Aquaman already. That's established. We didn't need it. I'm bummed. I'm bummed that's even part of the movie. It's so, Jones, for this one, it's going to be really hard to separate trailer from movie to me, this is obviously a bad movie, and I have to think. I have to.
There's no way to save it. We know right away.
Yes, but I have to
2.5
wonder.
minutes in, it's already over.
I have to wonder if it's a good trailer for a bad movie. You know what I mean? Like I gotta try to see if this is a good trailer for what the movie is. But yeah, I think it started the wrong way for sure. If we're opening in our discussion there.
Well, where I think Shazam should have maybe had a little more heart in the beginning, maybe like a little bit of deception, where I think this is kind of like a warm-hearted coming-of-age tale, and then, it's a comedy. This starts off super serious, where it's like, you are you are going to bring these two worlds together, and then it just starts being goofy and does not stop. And then it's just, like, we get a little serious again with his brother.
They definitely try to get serious again.
Claiming Atlantis, but, oh boy. Damiani, what do you think?
I mean, I just don't like how this looks.
Yeah.
The more I watch it, the more this feels like I'm getting episode 1 vibes with some of these scenes with the special effects, like the green screen stuff.
And for me, the war. Totally episode 1 vibes.
Everything. It looks like the Battle of Naboo.
Yes.
Like I'm seeing the Battle of Naboo. Like the Gungans are coming out of the ocean and we're getting ready to attack.
To fight a bunch of skinny droids you've never seen before. Yeah.
I was like, I mean, it could have been cool to see like, this cool underwater like kingdom that apparently has been hidden. I don't know if this is before or after Justice League, so where were all of you during Justice League, but that's cool. But everything from here on, like that shot, like, no. I'm like so out right now. Yeah.
Oh.
And then the crowd reaction shots, like, episode 1 pod racing. Yeah. And then like, I
did think about episode 1, but now it's all I can think
that's
about.
all I see when I see this now. And then like he catches 3 different things with his hands like that. Like, hey, look how cool I am. I can stop swords with my hands by doing this move. And then the submarine scene, they keep going back to it. It's like that's how the film's opening. It's gonna be like sometime after Justice League, Aquaman's just back in the ocean doing his thing. Oh, it's some sub. Hey, you're doing bad stuff to the ocean. You shouldn't be here. I'm gonna beat you up and like make your sub come to the surface. It's just. It just looks too, I don't know, I hate to say it, but it just looks too goofy.
Permission to come aboard is the only joke I can stomach in this entire trailer.
Yeah, I don't
It's
mind,
the only
to be
one
honest.
that I'm like, okay.
That's some good.
What's this Uncharted stuff here?
Superhero stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What?
The ending is very silly.
What if we put Aquaman in the desert when he has no
you're not
water
expecting
around him?
Yeah, sand
No,
surfing.
that's what-
Where's his powers now?
That's the surprise they're going for with that. Yeah.
I want to talk about Woo.
Okay. Let's get into Woo.
This trailer's got some Woo in it.
Yeah.
This trailer's got a lot of, like buckle your seatbelt. A lot of like the set. I mean, doesn't she say something to that effect? Like when you do the splash into the ocean.
Yeah.
When you first go underneath and like see the spectacle. I don't know what she says specifically, but there is a little, and I'm always nervous. I'm always, my spider sense always goes up whenever a trailer's like, this is gonna be sweet. I'm like, I'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
Don't tell me something's gonna be awesome. He like pulls himself up on the cliff edge or something, and he's like, that was great. He woos, I think 3 separate times. He woos when he's in I think it's a yeehaw kind of a moment when he's in the submarine. He woos when he jumps out of the plane, and then woos again like 3 seconds after. And it's just the desperation is painful. The please be excited about this movie. Please. Jason is really excited about this movie. Why aren't you?
Yeah. Man. Worst pep talk ever, I assume, is a funny line in the movie. They put it after a non-funny line in the trailer. She's not really insulting him that much. And it's like, worst pep talk ever.
It's not really a pep talk, too.
Yeah, like it's clearly, I mean, those lines are clearly disconnected. Weird edit for the trailer. You did a bad job of finding a line that lines up with that one.
I mean, you're talking about, is this a bad trailer for a good movie? I think it's a bad trailer for a bad movie. But I think one possible you could salvage it, again, maybe give me like, we were saying the origin thing wouldn't work, but it's like, tone comes up a lot here on Trailer Jones. It's something we're always going to get into. Make it the funny trailer or make it the dramatic trailer, but don't, or the adventurous trailer, but don't just do like funny, adventurous, serious, adventurous, funny, adventurous. Like, just pick one. Stop. By the time he's like, I want to fight for the people that I love. It's like, you mean Amber Heard? I met her 45 seconds ago. I don't know, I don't have any emotional stake, but if I'm then used to the campaign, if you show me this war and then you give me Black Manta like in the next trailer, yeah. Mm-hmm. But if you just try to kitchen sink this thing at me, it's just I have no purchase on it. I just don't know. There's just so little to like.
about
There
it.
is so little to like. That's
And
really good.
I mean,
yeah.
clear, like so much work was done on this, and clearly they are investing in Aquaman. This is not
Right, delayed a couple of times, right?
This is not something that I feel, they are just kind of half-assing, or the attempts were done, but it's just so all over the place, and I feel bad.
I mean,
I feel bad for the character. I feel bad for these actors. I feel bad for James Wan. I feel bad for DC. I feel it's just so weird to have both Aquaman and Shazam come out, and like Shazam is the one I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I did not think we were gonna be here.
It definitely looks like they have two different budgets.
And just this, I mean, you're talking about budgets. I mean, Shazam is not the movie that showcased its budget.
Right.
Like I'm sure there's a lot more going on in that movie that we have yet to see. I don't know why they felt that we had to see this much.
Yeah.
Of the, what do you go from here? What's the next Aquaman trailer like?
This feels okay. Here's my problem. It's not the trailer's fault. It's what they're doing with this film. So it's going beyond like how this is a good or bad trailer. What you just said, Jones, is this is setting up such a large scale conflict that I don't. Why are they going this big for Aquaman as the follow up to Justice League? It's like something smaller scale. Definitely, I think would have been better. Like something better for Aquaman to deal with. This feels like it's bigger and more important than Justice League at times. Like giant warring underwater, like races together. Like that feels like wow. This is like Justice League scale level of like threat and stuff. Why are we going this? Why are we going for this right after Justice League? Don't you come with like a more personal tale, a more like we want to see Aquaman develop as a character? I mean, he might in the film, but this just speaks to like summer. I mean, it's in December, but like popcorn blockbuster action flick with like very little like substance behind it. And I don't know if that's what they needed to swing for with Aquaman. In my opinion, I think this is the wrong direction to go. Whether like sadly the desert stuff actually seems like the most interesting because
you talk about swinging. It's like they hit it and then they run the bases and they go all the way to home. Whereas he's like, "We need you to be king," and by the end of it, he's like, "Okay, I'll be king." And you're like, "Well, all right,
Yeah.
then we did it. We won, everybody."
Right. Again, this one I cannot identify the conflict. I don't know, like if it's like his brothers just like fighting for the crown. You know what I mean? Like so they're gonna have a little brother fight to be the king. But we don't care. We
I
don't,
certainly don't care about his brother at all.
we don't care about
they
this
don't set
plot.
that up.
Yeah. They have some dramatic shots of him like turning his eyes around with his hair slicked back, but like, yeah, we don't care about him as a villain. We see more of the family. They don't leave the family. They come back to the family on like the docks with the very golden sunset.
the very bad
Stop it.
shot.
Yeah. Don't bring that back. We don't care about that. It is a bad trailer. You know what? Like it's a bad trailer for a bad movie. You could make a good trailer out of Aquaman. I'm convinced of it. This is not it.
5. I'm going 5.
Yeah. What more needs to be said, right? You don't need to like back that up anymore.
Because it doesn't like insult me, and I will compliment this one trailer because it does something that is not easy to do. It's not easy to do for your first trailer. It's a scary thing to do at Comic-Con, especially to reveal it. Wonder Woman 1984 got a trailer. We haven't seen any of that.
Oh, I want to see that trailer.
There's some leaked photos, but people are very curious about that. There were some reveals at Comic-Con, like there are every single year, that we don't get to actually see. They released this, man. I watched this on my phone when I was waiting for our Comic-Con meetup. I was like, whoa, Aquaman the trailer. We see a lot of special effects from this. And so kudos to the team putting all of these visuals together to have that much prepared by the time we got our first glimpse of this movie. I think it's too much. Or if you're going to do that, just give me the war. Have this be the war trailer. And then get into the story, then get into his origin, then introduce Amber Heard, then show me Black Manta. But like, if you're giving me seahorses and sharks and giant crocodiles, it's like
nothing has any weight, Jones.
So that's why I'm not going into 4-3-2 territory, because there's a lot going on here. So I commend the creators of this film for, I'm sure, just busting their asses to get all of this stuff ready, show ready to not only be shown to attendees at Comic-Con, but to be released, to the world. That Black Manta shot's cool, man. When he blows up that tower, like there's a couple things in here. I'm like, yeah, I've been waiting for this for a long time.
I'm gonna happily give this one a 3.
Happily?
Happily.
Don't be happy.
No, Jones,
don't be happy, Kyle.
What you just said, like I want to like at least commend the people who put this together. I want them to feel bad.
No.
Yes. I want them to feel bad for like insisting that CG war had to be in this trailer.
They don't have any control.
Who doesn't have any control? You mean the artist?
CG artists,
the artist
man.
putting it together. You're right.
It's like 8 people that decided that this trailer needs to be the way it is.
Yeah.
You know, there's
Those
hundreds and
are the
hundreds.
people I want to feel bad. Those are the
Okay.
people I want to read the YouTube comments and like, wait, why isn't this good? I actually don't know if YouTube is receiving this well. Actually,
It's mixed. A lot of people were really turned around on this. A lot of people were like, "Whoa, Aquaman, here we go!"
I'll add 0.5
because of the spectacle.
I'm going to add 0.5 for Black Manta. I think those 2 shots are the best in the trailer. This could have been the Black Manta trailer. I would cut out Child Boy. I would cut out all of his parents, trying to make us care about his parents who like died at the lighthouse. Just like a leading up to fighting Black Manta. Give us a villain to care about. Give us a hero to care about. And look, we don't have that. 3.5.
All right. Yeah, echo most of the same thing you said. I'm gonna go. I'll split the difference. I'm gonna go with a 4. Just because, yeah, I can't shake the episode. It's not only just episode 1 vibes, but a lot of these epic shots feel like it's just gonna be like backstory, like Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring opening, or it's gonna be 10 minutes of backstory of back in the under the sea or stuff like this. So I feel like they're showing off the most trying to show off the most visually appealing sequences, but they, as you said, like this, the substance in them that's like, I don't care. This looks, it's a giant arena for fighting. What are the stakes? Like, who's fighting there? I just don't care. Is that were they fighting there before? Is that the end of the foot? I just don't know, and I just like, it's just too much, as you said, Jones. I will give props. I love these title cards. The white and blue look, like very stylish.
Good looking title cards.
I like those.
Gotta give it up. Yeah,
go with those. And now that I'm seeing it more and more, I cannot stand that child scene. It basically is the Harry Potter scene where he learns, I speak puzzle tongue. I can talk to snakes. It's like he makes the window vanish. It's literally that scene again.
But
it's like,
make it bigger. Make it bigger. Give me a big shark.
Make his eyes glow.
Make him crack the glass.
He's got the power and stuff. And then like all the things behind it, like the camera just like zooming in on him with him smiling, and all the fish in the tank just like, yeah, this Aquaman. You better watch out. We're gonna break through that glass. It's like, okay.
Jones, what's the name of the actor?
Jason Momoa of Aquaman.
Yeah,
Khal Drogo.
I don't think he gets to like shine enough. I think he's a really legitimately
so
good actor.
Awesome, and he's so into this, man.
Yes,
he was like, this is just one of those guys that's got like the Rock vibe, where he's just always has a smile on his face. Is so stoked to have this opportunity.
Yeah.
You're going from one big character a narrative character you're bringing to life to this other character that stylistically is very drastic. I mean, this is not really based on any kind of version of Aquaman we've seen. He really gets to like bring a lot of himself, his own personal style into this franchise.
We don't see enough. We really don't see enough.
And I think for a lot of people was, in a way, somewhat of a highlight from Justice League. You know, was kind of like an interesting take.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, they were just like, "There's no way Aquaman can work." And then you see him, it's like, "Okay, like this could work." And I think potentially there's maybe a way to solve it. I don't know. 4.2. Let's move on.
Hey, Jason Momoa was really good in Stargate Atlantis.
Whoa.
Oh, there you go.
Check out that
Stargate
series.
Atlantis.
Where can I check out Stargate Atlantis?
Actually, I don't know where it's on anymore.
It's gone. Lost to time.
It's got to be on some streaming service.
Stargate Atlantis. That's funny.
Yeah.
The irony. The irony.
Our world is changing. The mass extinction we feared has already begun.
And last but most certainly not least, the trailer that I probably got most recommendations for us to score and talk about, Godzilla, King of the Monsters, the sequel to a film that I thought was okay, and something that I think needed to turn itself around a little bit. I think needed to sell people. Again, we just got done talking about Aquaman. That is a movie that's going to have a lot of spectacle in it. A lot of spectacle is shown in that trailer. We see a lot of that spectacle shown in this trailer as well. This trailer goes about it a completely different way. One of the big things that you will hear me nitpick about on Trailer Jones, on streams here at Easy Allies, if you meet me in person, is I get nervous whenever a trailer goes, and now this song. And I'm like, oh dear. Because I'm like, showcase your movie, don't showcase the song. And did they get me? When they first started out, playing Claire de Lune by Claude Debussy, which you might have heard in Evil Within 2, or the end of Ocean's 11 is one of my favorite inclusions of this song, where they finally do the heist, they all meet and kind of appreciate, like, yeah, we did it, and then they all go their separate ways.
Totally different use of that song.
Completely different use of it.
Yes.
And I don't want to talk too much before I get your takes on it, but I want to talk about what I think it adds to this trailer and what I think was such a spectacular way to present this movie, this concept, all of these just incredible visual effects. I think this trailer was structured in a really interesting way, and I think it sells the movie in an interesting way. But I want to hear your hot takes first before I get into it.
This trailer knows the best part of it. It knows that when Godzilla is shooting its atomic breath into the sky and then Mothra like unravels, it knows those are the two best shots of the whole thing. And also that's when the music just really hits itself. I love that. Jones, I love the use of music in this trailer. I do also want to point out how good it is that the first scene is allowed to play out so that we see her looking around, we see the smoke coming, but we don't cut away yet. You know what I mean? Like we get multiple takes, we get multiple cuts of that one scene, and so we're allowed to like watch a scene, and it is scarier than watching a bunch of CG things battle each other under the water. So I like that. I like where it starts, and I like that what we sell immediately is kind of the sci-fi aspect, kind of what Godzilla has always been, this idea of shaming humans into what we're doing. This aspect is more about, I think, environmentalism. Like, hey, we're killing this planet. We've been killing this planet. Now we got Godzilla monsters. Good job. But I kind of like that. That's the thing that they're hitting on. Because, this planet is dying. Exactly. Yes, we should be scared of that. And so I kind of like, using these ridiculous monsters, a 3-headed dragon that's made of gold, sure, to pass on these messages. I'm always in favor of that kind of thing.
How much knowledge do you have of the Godzilla franchise, Michael Damiani?
I saw the first film in this canon, in this movie series. So I saw the original one where the attack happens on San Francisco at the end, and then I've seen Kong Skull Island, which was set up what will happen at some point in this series, hopefully, of Godzilla possibly versus King Kong or something like that.
But at this, I've not seen Skull Island. Kong, what is it called?
Kong Skull Island.
Could King Kong even like battle with any of these things? He's just a little monkey. He climbs buildings.
In Kong Skull Island, I think it's the largest depiction of Kong ever.
Okay, so he's at least a bigger boy. Okay,
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if he's quite the size of Godzilla. They might have to do some sleight of hand there to make it like, he got a little bit bigger, because they act like he's young.
Okay.
He's young, like sorry to talk about another movie. Kong's parents died, and he's the last of his kind, so he's still young relative to his species age, I guess. The inhabitants know that for some reason. And I think because of how big there's a lot of shots in that film where like they don't even show Kong in full frame, like it's just like his chest only, and you see like the skyline and the island. It's like, holy crap, that's huge, like the opening scene. But I mean, talking about like shots, like showing scale and stuff, that's one thing I really like about this trailer, is they just focus on these large scale shots. When it's humans, it's close up on the humans and stuff. Like here's the human element. It gives me the vibe that the human stuff's not going to suck or get in the way this time. I felt in the last one, the Bryan Cranston stuff, the family stuff was a little too heavy-handed.
And also heavy-handed in the trailers as well.
In the trailers, it's also one of the biggest problems I have with one of the many problems I have with the Transformers films as well. Like it's like when you got these big spectacles, let the spectacles do their job. You were just there to advance to the next set piece, basically. And that's what I like about this trailer. It showed a lot of great set pieces. And what you said about this opening, I mean, I just want to troll. First, if you just cut this part, it's literally could pass for like a Stranger Things season 3 teaser.
Of course.
Yeah, it absolutely could. Yeah.
Like, why is the mist coming like at us?
Yeah.
But like, it's just great. Like, it's coming from all around, and you're just like, even though you know this is Godzilla, it's like, what the hell is causing that? Like what are we dealing with? This is insane. Like, like when they say we got to get the Titans, like we got to get them together. Like the conflict and the stakes could not be more clear in this trailer about this is like end of the world stuff, and like we need these things to fight back. And just these beautiful shots, the slow movement, wonder and awe they have. And as we talked about the music already plenty, like the pacing is just great. And I love this blue tone they use like through most of the shots, except for the destruction shots, which go to like, the orange red hue. I just love this. Like, so good. Like, good cinematography. This shot, real quick, I just want to make a shout out. I think that's right after the end of the first film. That San Francisco devastated, I think.
How you can tell it's San Francisco?
I can see that building. The pointy building. I think it's in the background. It's a little blurry, But I mean, that city got decimated after the last fight, so it'd be awesome. They had Ken Watanabe in the shot, one of them. So like,
he's around.
It'd be great if it's picked up right after it and gives like, here we go, like, you know, there's more to this and stuff.
They were very cryptic about showing. They're very reserved in showing Godzilla in the advertisements leading up to the last film, and so I wonder if they kind of learned their lesson and they're like, "Here you go." But at the same time,
no, they're saving something, dude.
they're saving a ton of stuff because we never see them fight each other.
Yes,
we see destruction. We see a sense, like you were saying, of scale. I also got to call out. I don't remember who it was. Somebody on Twitter said, "What's the over/under of the use of the word scale when you guys talk about Godzilla?" It might have been in the comments on today's Cup of Jones, but. I think they do a great job of showing plenty, but not too much.
That shot right there.
And speaking of scale, I like that it almost feels like the camera guy's like, I can't get a good shot of this. You know, he's like, you see a lot of these action moments, but the camera's just not able to get in frame enough. And there's kind of, except for like the big money shot at the end, it's just really perfect framing of Godzilla. But I like that we see the destruction, we see how big this movie is going to be, but I don't feel spoiled. I can't reconstruct these scenes and knowing, well, okay, that's clearly that fight. You know, we get a little bit of landmarks. You know, we see the Capitol building, like we see moments where it's like, oh, goodbye DC. But I don't feel like I can kind of piece this movie together.
Good point.
now.
Jones, there's a version of this trailer that easily could have ended with all the monsters colliding, cut to the name of the date, cut to the date. Yeah. They didn't do that. You're right. That's actually, this is fantastic. This trailer knows how good this movie is.
This trailer also, for me, I think one of the fascinating things is it like structures desolation beautifully. You know, like, and that's the temptation again. And so I kind of want to go back to like how busy and loud the Aquaman trailer is. How many like gung 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 there beats there are, big metal slams in the Shazam trailer.
Yeah.
And here you have this trailer, which is just piano, and then like an orchestra that comes in at the end. Like you could have easily put this track underneath somebody going to Tibet and saving a school full of children, and I've learned how to live despite my terminal disease. You know, like you could apply this big kind of life affirming track to so many other storylines, but to add it to something like this and see so much destruction and so much hopelessness, you know, I just think it's a really wonderful marriage. And I love that, you know, I'm sure there's going to be some dumb human subplot, and we get a little bit of that, which is to criticize it. The line where he's like, "Are you crazy?" There's clearly some kind of dialogue cut there that happened. I don't think those two lines are right next to each other.
Two shots of that picture frame of the family.
The clearly, if you're a monster, I'm sorry, those are not in the same scene. There's a couple of those human moments that I think kind of fall flat a little bit. But I just love the vibe that they're like, there's no question that a lot of people are going to die. There's no question that a lot of cities are going to be literally leveled to the ground. That's going to happen. Humankind might not survive this film, you know, like, but that's what you're buying a ticket for, you know, and I just think it's really straightforward that way. I think it presents it in such a fascinating way. Even though we get this track that is very familiar, it messes with it a little bit. I like that it cuts off. You get the Charles Dance line, you know, "Long live the king," and then you get these like drum beats. You get like another final surge, which I love. I love when you're like, "Oh, trailer's over." No, it's not. And the big finale, and then of course the big, you know, reveal of Godzilla himself.
Yes,
I love 11, you know, turning and looking at him, smiling. You know, I don't know if it's in that scene, but almost kind of being like, "Yeah, Godzilla, go get him."
Yeah. That one's actually earlier. She's in the rain. It's before she's screaming in the yellow zone.
I think it's almost comedic in a sense, but it's interesting how so many actors are revealed just staring. You know, there's so many shots of like, and this wonderful actor is in the film, and this wonderful actor is in the film.
Yeah.
And we have this person in the film looking very scared.
I love it,
off
dude.
In the distance.
They're letting actors act. We're watching actors acting, basically, yeah.
But there are, you know that trailer trick where like at the end they have like this actor, where they do a bunch of titles, you know, and show them all. Like that would have destroyed this. You know, I love that they allow us to recognize these faces, to draw connections with the previous film and with other films that we know these actors from. Obviously, you know, she's, you know, I wish I knew her name off the top of my head, but the gal who plays 11 is huge because Stranger Things is in between seasons 2 and 3, and so makes sense to see her in something else, sci-fi, something else where, you know, see her staring off into the horizon with a big monster coming through dark clouds. We've seen that before, but I just think this the tone of this trailer is so great. This trailer gives me chills every time I watch it. I mean, every time we get up to the end, even if I'm like not necessarily into it in that moment, just the moment he screams. I love how long the yell is. I love that it goes over the title. I love that it just like it's just so in your face. And I think this baby's larger than life. I have one more criticism.
Ooh, bring it on.
I think the monologue in the beginning is a little bit too long. I think it's a little bit too.
Bring it up.
I think it's a little bit too obvious. I think you kind of get what she's getting at, and I don't think she needs. I think you could trim her speech by 30%, and it would still come across what she's trying to say.
Same exact thoughts right there. I thought it went on a little too long. I actually don't know if it's like the best take either for some of it. And it just could have been like one line, I think.
Well, she's got to do that heavy lifting of introducing Titans and this idea that we need to awaken all the Titans to save Earth.
That's the necessary part.
Yes.
We're destroying Earth part, I got it. We're a disease. Like, okay. I just think that's been done so many times in storytelling. I've just seen a lot of movies that have had that concept, so it's just not a new concept to me.
Sure.
And especially by the time you get to the end of it, it's like, I don't really care why they're here. You can kind of hint at it,
Jones,
but I mean, the heavy lifting in this trailer is the visuals, is these monsters.
Actually, I don't think they need to have any VO and like any spoken dialogue in this trailer. I think this trailer would have done the job just fine. And like, you won't know exactly like we're collecting the Titans, but you just know stuff's going down on a big scale. And all these monsters are gathering together, like, and you don't ever see them fight, but like it's all gonna come to a head. I think that little bit of extra mystery would have gone a little bit further for this trailer.
Sure.
I did not need as soon as he said the line, I'm like, okay, this is obvious. Like, I get it now. Yeah, like you don't need to tell me this.
Yeah, I think what you would lose, and what I think does add a little bit of the human element, again, like what would kill this trailer is like they're in a Jeep and they're like, we got to get that reactor battery to the station so we can signal Godzilla. And you're like, stop it. We don't know. But like what I do get is Vera's relationship with Eleven. This mother-daughter relationship.
Kyle Chandler in there
you're
too.
a monster, so we do. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, so we do get that. Like, that's why she's tagging along. It's not just like Godzilla and I are friends. Like, she's hanging around with her mom, whether her mom's the president or some scientist or whoever. And so I do like that relationship. I do like that she is accountable for someone. She might not care if the whole world gets destroyed. She does care if her daughter gets put in danger. And so I do like that there is that little bit of a human element. One last super nitpicky thing before we score this trailer and wrap up this episode. The framed photo of their family we see twice. What?
Yeah.
What? Get the iPad shot out of here. Why the heck do we see with the iPad? The shake with the falling off the mantle with them is perfect. It's beautiful symbolism. We identify, okay, that's the family unit there, and it's falling apart because not only is the world being destroyed, but the fibers of their familial relationship are being torn. The trust is being threatened, and there's literally I think 2 shots that separate like the exact same image that we see. It's just so weird. I'm surprised that made it all the way through.
I do think
I'm surprised the editor was like, and I need another shot of their family. Yeah. Weird. Super nitpicky though. 9.3.
Whoa, Jones, I'm giving this a 9.2. For a lot of the reasons we talked about. I love a strong musical choice in a trailer. I love a trailer that builds and
strong musical execution.
Yes,
I think.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I've seen strong choices go sour real quick. Good choice. I don't know what you did with it, but
Yep. Sells us a story. Sells us a movie. It's so good. That's a really, really good trailer.
I guess went a little higher. I was gonna go with 8.5.
Go for it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good trailer. Yeah, like I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a certain things I would say more. Yeah, I don't want to go to another. I don't want to do comparison. Everything we talked about is why I gave it an 8.5. The monologue at the beginning hurt it the most for me. That's how long it went on. And I think these shots of the humans being in awe and like seeing the scale is great. I think there might be a little bit too many of these random shots on people. Like to make it just think of it, making it a little bit tighter. Like that's fine, but like, sorry, the shot we just saw was like fine. But I think there's a 1 or 2 close-ups that you didn't really need that. You could just like skip over it and stuff. I mean, but yeah, it's a really good trailer.
I think the reason why again, the chills that I get at the end, and the reason why I'm scoring it so high is like, I am always down for any monster movie. Doesn't matter. I'm down for anybody to go rampaging through a city and destroying everything. Like, that's a spectacle. I want to sign up for that. I will be there for that if you put that in your movie. But I've never been a huge Godzilla fan. I don't have anything against Godzilla. It's just not a series that I have followed. It's not something I've missed a lot of those old films. It's not something that I hold in my heart from my childhood. So for me to be as excited as I am for this movie, especially after seeing the first one, like, well, I don't know. And having so much hope for this and hoping that this is a representative of what the tone of the final film will be like, which is we just kind of step back and just, this is inevitable. This thing's going to happen, try to find a bunker somewhere and just wait the whole thing out. I'm excited for this. And I, again, just without fail, the end of this baby makes the hair stand up on my arm every single time I saw it, and I just think that's such a special sauce that's not easy to do. Yeah. And that's why when I look at a trailer like Aquaman, and I can tell they're like, we did it right, and like you didn't. It's about pace. It's about a build. It's about being true to the subject matter and the source material, and selling it in a different way, but making it feel authentic at the same time. And I just think it does everything. So, but it evens out to a 9.0.
And I think we're still at a 9. I like that. All right.
And I think we all got our honest opinions out there.
Yeah.
And following such an epic event as Comic-Con, of course, there's so many trailers that we can eventually talk about. I definitely want to give a shout out to ones that we didn't do as I bring up my phone. Glass. Yeah, Glass was tough to talk about. Tough not to talk about because Unbreakable is my favorite M. Night Shyamalan film, and I'm so curious about. I Split really came out of nowhere, and I thought that was enjoyable, especially since it's so dangerous to watch McAvoy be in a movie like that and just overacting all over the place. But I thought he really was a very interesting character. And then when I found out, oh my God, it's the Unbreakable universe, and I'm making another movie, and really excited to see where that's going to go. And I thought they did a good job with the trailer. Would have loved to rag on Titans, but I picked ragging on Aquaman instead.
You know what? Titans doesn't deserve it. It's just a streaming series, right? Like, man, that's a bad trailer, though.
Deadly Class is a comic that is coming to Netflix that has a very interesting, edgy trailer and is a very I thought was very honest and about just kids being trained to be assassins and just kind of like the Hogwarts of killers, basically.
Okay.
That's like 3 anime, dude. There's like 3 anime series that's like Assassination Classroom.
So yeah, just go check that out. That actually surprised me. Clone Wars season 7 got a not only an interesting trailer but a great reveal, and it killed me. That was probably that and Glass. It was tough not to score. But
real quick, can you tell me how you felt about that trailer?
The trailer, I thought the trailer itself is not fantastic.
Yeah.
I thought the trailer used in the way it was to announce season 7 was beautiful.
Okay.
How great is it to go to a convention like that, go to a press conference or go to a panel, and then I talked to a bunch of fans that were Star Wars fans, and I'm like, did you know? And they're like, we had no idea.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
we are huge Clone Wars fans. When that started, we were like, oh, they're gonna make an homage to the seasons 1 through 6. That's nice. And then wait a minute, whoa! It was like Final Fantasy VII Remake. You're like, is this what I think it is? And like, if you can capture that and you can let a video do that. Yes, cool. And so I thought that was really great.
I get you.
At the end when Ahsoka turns around, I thought it kills the mood by her actually saying something. Well, hello, it's good to see you. It's like, you're done. Her turning around, that's the reveal. Finished. You're done. Go cut to black.
Yeah.
And the Crimes of Grindelwald. Amanda was hurt. She's like, you're not going to talk about the Crimes of Grindelwald? But to me, that was interesting. But as I talked with the trailer we just talked about, Godzilla, where I can't really tell when these scenes take place. Painfully obvious, the Crimes of Grindelwald. You're like, there's him going to prison. There's him breaking out of prison. Yeah. There's the circus scene halfway through the film. It's just like I can tell so much of like, okay, that goes in the beginning and that's over there, and it was just kind of like, yay, this world, and not necessarily like what. And there's just lore-wise, there's all sorts of weird stuff going on there. You're like, explain yourself. Just if as a Harry Potter fan and as someone who's married to a massive Harry Potter fan. They have a lot to explain. All the crazy stuff going on. And so much more. So many great game trailers. Spider-Man had a great trailer. There's all sorts of fun gaming news coming out of Comic-Con. So apologies to everyone that's like, you didn't score the thing. We're always going to miss something on every episode of Trailer Jones, but I try to keep this as short as possible. I have no idea how long this episode is, but I am indebted to Kyle Bossman and Michael Damiani for sticking around and scoring these trailers with me. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next month.